Let me add myself to the stream. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So we're gonna get started in just 1 second. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the delay. We had a workshop. We're doing a workshop with our young people, uh,
Hmm.
reproductive health, and it ran over because they had all kind of questions and stuff. But it was definitely a blessing to be able to do that with them and have those
Yeah.
questions. Let me make sure I got my screens right. I'm
Okay.
being like mad loud in the background, but I'm sorry.
Wait, let me make my shirt crooked. Okay.
All right. All right. Oh, dip, I didn't even. Isis, can you chill, please? All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Real Talk with Ray Jean, where nothing's off limits. Please go ahead and share this out if you could. Share. If you have comments, leave them in the comments section. We got, I see Jaden. What's going on? How you doing? We got Jaden's in the building. Hey, Jaden James. I see you. We got
Hey, Jackie.
Lisa Lynn Manley. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you for joining us.
Lisa.
I still got my stuff loading up. I apologize. I need to get my open. Where's my open? Um, where's my open? Share. Please share this out. We will be beginning in just 1 second. You got any questions before we get started, Miss Keisha?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right. It's pretty straightforward, man. It's just a good conversation between good people doing great things and God. God is doing the blessing thing. And I like
Hmm.
to let people know about the great people such as yourself. So we are live. All right. I'm here with Miss. Where's my banner for that? Keisha Smith. Right. Is that up? Oh, you up? Good. One thing. Mr. Jordan doing?
And he's doing good.
Good.
He is doing good.
Awesome.
Working and busy,
I,
but he
I
is
know this
good.
life. I know
Hmm.
this life. Uh, I shared that. I need my open.
Using this
Normally I'm
time in this season constructively.
as we all should. Yeah, that's good. You know, money ain't gonna make itself.
That's right.
All right, there we go. I want that. And I remember people saying that they couldn't hear it before.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do this. All right, so I'm gonna blank out of this screen real quick and go into share screen. And I want to share my application window. All right, here we go. Sound ain't working. Hello, world, and welcome back to Real Talk with Rajon, when nothing's off limits. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. I am your host, Ray John Lewis. Now, here on Real Talk with Rajon, anything's debatable. So on any given week, we can be discussing anything from sports to music to politics. You name it, we'll discuss it. Now, one of the goals of Real Talk with Rajon is to shine a light on the great things that are happening right here in the Lowlands. Today is just nothing different. We have Miss Keisha Smith, local business coach and mother of Mr. Jordan Jackson, and I'm just glad to have her here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, Miss Keisha.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right. So for those who do not know who you are, please introduce yourself to the audience.
So, as I said, I am Keisha Smith. I am the biz growth coach. And what I do is I grow businesses and local nonprofit organizations. I essentially put a plan in place and help business owners and nonprofit leaders to carry those plans out.
All right. Okay. So just to give you a little background, just to give the audience a little background on yourself, please let us know, where you're from,
Okay.
what role brought you to this place.
Okay. So I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised in Baltimore.
Be more.
Be more. Yeah. Um, I spent probably about 19 years of my professional career working with nonprofits. I worked in the industry for the good and the bad. So when it came to Black economic development, um, I was still working for a nonprofit that me to start a business. Uh, and in doing so, he has allowed me now to work with small businesses and smaller nonprofits to assist them in growing. Sometimes there are not a lot of resources in place for the small business owner and for the local nonprofit leader to grow them to the next level. And so that's what I do. So my love for working in the nonprofit industry has brought me to this place.
All right, cool. And there was a few technical difficulties in the beginning of that. So I'm going to ask you to repeat it, and when I do the final version of this, I'm going to edit that part out. So
Okay.
you really gave a really good explanation, but the music was sort of doing some weird stuff. So if you just
Okay.
repeat, what brought you to this place?
Okay. So as I
Sorry.
said, I was from Baltimore, Maryland,
Uh-huh.
and I worked in a nonprofit industry, probably a total of about 19 years now. And in working in the nonprofit industry, I saw the good, I saw the bad, and I saw the ugly. And what the Lord laid on my heart about 5 years ago was to start a business where I can help and I can assist the small business owner and the local nonprofit leader,
Mhm.
help them to grow so that they can reach their goals and that they can go to the next level.
All right, cool, cool. So in working with nonprofit leaders, what are there any specific projects that you're like specifically proud of that you've been able to make an impact on?
Oh my goodness. I had a ton of product projects. So I do a lot of work in a faith-based community.
Mhm.
I do leadership development. I do new members, new disciple trainings, and things like that. And I also manage events. Now,
Mhm.
I don't do like the event planning portion, but I
Mhm.
do the administrative portion. I
Okay.
make sure that that events go on smoothly behind the scenes.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So one thing that I know that a lot of us know you very well for, and it's of course it's not the only thing that you've done, but it's definitely the thing that that sort of made ears perk up has been
Yes.
the success of your son and
Yes.
Mr. Jordan Jackson, who was
Mhm.
who entered the record books by becoming the youngest owner of his own business at Northwoods Mall. I
Yes.
want to talk to you about what that took as a parent. For those who, matter of fact, let's just start at the beginning. For those who don't
Okay.
know who your son is, please introduce, just talk a little bit about your son.
Okay. So Jordan Jackson is, as Ray John said, he made history by becoming the youngest store owner at the Northwoods Mall at the age of 19.
Mhm.
So Jordan is that he doesn't call himself like a fashion icon, but he does. He has a style of his own,
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
store represented that style, and also the fashions that he sold represented that style too. Yes.
absolutely. So how young was Jordan when he first came and told you, "Mom, I want to open my own business"?
So, well, Jordan had been wanting to run businesses for years. I mean, and you may have heard the story, dog
I heard the
walking
story.
business, and what else? He making jewelry, and I mean, he had lemonade stands. He
Mm,
sold he sold snacks. He did whatever he wanted to do because he always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And unlike most kids have dreams to go to college and dreams to go into a certain profession. Jordan always wanted to be his own boss. So
mm.
all throughout his life, he tried to create ways for him to be his own boss, for him to bring in money and to actually contribute to the household. So at about, I think when he was a sophomore, or junior in high school, he came to me. He asked me to borrow $300, and I'm like, for what now? because when I made the dog walking posters, I made 500 of them, and you didn't pass one out, and that cost a lot of money, and it took a lot of time and energy. So what do you want the $300 for? So he said he wanted to start an online store. And back then, I didn't know anyone who had their own online store.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, all right. So I'll give you the $300. I really didn't have it to give, but I'm like, I'll give it to you if you can come up with a plan. So I
Mm-hmm.
made him go and develop a plan, and he came back to me. He said, okay, mommy, here's the plan. I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'll give you the $300. I was like, what are you going to do? He said, oh, I'm just going to order some products and I'm going to sell them online. I was
Mm.
like, okay, how you going to sell them online? He was like, oh, mommy, I need a website too. I said, oh, now you need $300 and you need
And,
money to build a
and a
website?
website, yeah.
And a website. So I did it. And Jordan, being the creative person that he is, he made it work. With me, if I don't know how to do it, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to, I'll be supportive, but I don't know anything about selling online. I don't sell anything. I've never sold products,
Right.
but he did it. And his online business was pretty slow for like the first 6 months. And something happened after 6 months and his business picked up. And I remember one day we were out looking over the water. Um, and his phone, the notification started going off. And he was like, oh, Ma, I got a sale. I was like, okay. And then notifications kept going off. It was like, ding, 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 ding. He was like, oh, wow. So an influencer posted some of the items that he sent her,
Uh-huh.
and that item sold out. And then from
Wow.
there, he would be in contact with other influencers, and his items were selling. I mean, I know there were times where Jordan was bringing more money in the house than I was, and I was working a
Wow.
full-time job.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I mean, again, he's always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but that's when it picked up when he was in high school. And his teachers were so amazing that they allowed him to actually work on his online business in school. As long as he got his
Wow.
work done, they let him do it.
Mm.
So that's kind of how it started. So do you want me to go all the way up to the store?
No, I mean, no. So I want to
Okay.
stop right there. So you have your
Okay.
son who
Yes.
is at this young age. He's deciding I want to enter the world of entrepreneurship. You hear a lot
Hmm.
of kids, and this is the one thing I always tell kids all the time. They say, "Hey, I want to go into business."
Hmm.
It's like, well, when I graduate, when I get out of school, I want to go into business. And my next question is, why are you waiting until you get out of school? Like,
Right.
why aren't you developing those skills now?
Right.
So how did you, as a parent, were you intentional about not killing his fire as a child for entrepreneurship, and if so, what did you do to try to harness those qualities?
Okay. So I always believed, and it was probably because of the way that I was raised, I always believed that children had their own minds.
Mhm.
And so they should be able to think for themselves. And we as parents sometimes don't pick up on if that's what they want to do or that's the direction that they're going in.
Mhm.
Just kind of let them go as long as they're going in a positive direction.
Mm.
Oftentimes, we as parents, we put our burdens and our challenges on our children
Mhm.
instead of just supporting them in the way that they'll go. So I always wanted to make sure that I supported my children. Um, and so with that being said, and I also had an entrepreneurial background.
Mhm.
And so the blessing is though, that I have a gift to grow.
Mm.
And so when I hear an idea, all I see is growth.
Mm.
Even if I don't know how it's going to get there, if I see an idea, in my mind, I'm like, okay, an idea plus a plan equals success.
Yes. Yes.
So he had the idea, he wrote the plan, so I knew he would be successful.
Mm.
I knew he would. So me as a parent, the only thing that I could do, even though I didn't understand, I had no idea what he was going to do with the $300 because we weren't bringing in much money.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
kind of broke. So like that $300 had to take us a long ways.
Right. Absolutely.
But I believed in him, and I never ever wanted him to believe or to even sense that I did not.
Mm.
because he was doing um or laying the groundwork or the foundation for the future. And I knew that. Again, I didn't know how. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I believed in him more than I believed that he could not. I believe that he
Absolutely.
could more than I believed that he could not.
Absolutely. So that, I mean, as again, just going back, I'm a father of 5 kids. I have 4 daughters and a son.
Mhm.
And the thing that I really, really want to make sure, that people see in this interview, and is it takes so much more than just our children saying that they want it. We
Yep.
we have to make sure as parents that we are doing our part to ignite that flame. Once they
Mhm.
show us where they want to go, because
Yep.
one problem that we have, I just watched the Clark sisters movie the other night, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Dr. Clark, she had all the best intentions for her daughters, but at some point you had to look at it and wonder, was this what her daughters really wanted, or is
Or
it
was
what
she
she wanted for her daughters?
right?
What I see with you for your son that I love about Jordan, and that you see about Jordan, is Jordan came to you and said, "Mommy, I want to do this," and then you
Mhm.
said, "Okay, cool. If you want to do it, this is how you do it best."
Mhm.
So, with that being the case, with your entrepreneurial background, how did you use your skills in entrepreneurship to help guide him through the tough times?
Okay. So I'm all about structure and organization.
Mhm.
Um, Jordan is a visionary. And as with all visionaries, visionaries see one thing, they see the whole picture. They don't really see the background. They don't really see the work that it's going to entail. They don't see that kind of stuff. They
Yeah.
don't. Um, but I do, and I've always taken big projects and broken them down into small pieces,
Hmm.
small achievable pieces, because essentially that's the only way that dreams come true.
Yes.
Because we can dream all day long, but until we put a plan in and put a plan in place and execute that plan, nothing's going to happen. It's going to remain a dream. And
Hmm.
that's one thing I never ever wanted for him to feel like he just has to dream forever. Because we as adults, kids don't have resources, but
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
And so even if there may be parents out there who, you may not be in business, you may not be an entrepreneur or have an entrepreneurial background, right? But you have resources.
Mm.
You can, reach out,
Hmm.
because we never want, especially in today's society where kids are, you know, doing drugs, having sex, going to jail,
Yeah.
dropping out of school. There
Yeah.
are so many negative things that they could be doing. And because he was doing something positive, I wanted to make sure that I had his back.
Mm.
Because who's going to have your child's back if you don't?
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. It's 100% true. And I've seen so much, I think about, like, I taught fourth and fifth grade.
Hmm.
And I can remember before I became a teacher, I was doing my student teaching, and we did a uh when I was in college, I with the Call Me Mr. program, which is coming up on 20 years. Happy birthday. And we went to a school. I don't want to say the school's name because I'm about to say
Hmm.
something that's not a very good sign of what was happening at that school. But we went to the
Hmm.
school, and we were sitting down and we were talking to the kids about college. We were talking
Uh-huh.
about college. And we were like, okay, cool, kids. So the idea was, we go in there, we talk to these kids about college, we inspire them to want to be the next level of leaders and all of that
Hmm.
stuff. So we go there and we say, okay, kids, we're going to talk to you guys about college. And they're like, what do you mean college? I'm like, college, the place that you go after you graduate high school.
Hmm.
And they're like, hold on, I'm not going to school after I graduate. If I get out of high school, I'm not going to no more school. So like,
Hmm.
okay, cool. All right, cool. I understand you're in second, third, fourth grade. You're
Hmm.
probably not too enthused about more years of school, especially school that you got to pay for. So I
Hmm.
said, if you were to go to a school, what school would you go to? They couldn't name one school.
Right.
They couldn't name one school. So then I said, okay, you can't name any schools. I was like, have you heard of Clemson University? They're like, no. Like, have you heard of the University of South Carolina? Said, no. Have you heard of College of Charleston? No. Have you heard of Trident Tech? Oh, I heard of Trident. That's a school? Like, yeah. Well, maybe I
Hmm.
might, if I go there, I might go to that one. Like, okay, cool. So then I said this. Have you ever heard of the Gamecocks? And like, yeah, that's the football team.
Right.
That's the football team. Who do you think they're watching football with? Their parents.
Their
They're
parents.
probably
Hmm.
watching football with their parents.
Yep.
At some point, and this is why it comes back to you as a parent and your approach and why I love it so much. There's some parents that will walk into a store and say, "This is all the things that we can buy." Entrepreneurs and parents like yourself walk into that store and they teach their child, this is something that you can do. These are things that you can
Absolutely.
own. These are opportunities
Hmm.
you can create for yourself and for your family to build a legacy for yourself.
Hmm.
Every kid doesn't want to go to college. Jordan, I'm
Right.
sure, doesn't look at college the way a lot of people looks at college because he's already an entrepreneur. He's already starting to make money from it. But if you ask Jordan about what colleges exist and what opportunities exist through college, he could tell you all about them. I know
Hmm.
because I've listened to him talk.
Hmm.
So, what role do you think as parents that we have to exposing our children to those things um outside of what we already know to be important to the kids?
Okay. So I think exposure is everything. Um, Sometimes what we do as adults is we separate ourselves from kids,
Uh-huh.
and we don't give them those real life experiences. And what we need to do is make sure that our children are a part of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that they're walking with us. One of the reasons that I loved the nonprofits that I was working with and nonprofits that I was attached to, because I always took my kids. I
Mm.
wanted them to know. I was working at a drug rehabilitation center,
Mm-hmm.
and kids under 18 weren't supposed to be there. But I
Right.
wanted my kids to see. I wanted them to know what was going on. I wanted them to see what could happen if, and so I think exposing your children is everything. And that may not have been, the best example, but my kids walked alongside me,
Mm-hmm.
but we also did things together because I wanted to make sure that I knew my kids.
Yes.
Um, so we had family things together. We did projects together. And we did all kinds of things together. I think now what people do sometimes is adults separate themselves from their children. And so in a place of parenting, we have the game systems. In a
Mm.
place of parenting, we have the social media. In a
Yeah.
place of parenting, we you, the children go to their friends.
Yeah.
So, we have to make sure that our children are exposed to the right things, because that's our responsibility.
Absolutely.
So it's our responsibility to make sure that if they graduate, they know that there are options out there.
Mm.
They can get a job, and they can get a good job. They can go to school, and not just go to school or go to college, but go to get a degree, go to get a certificate. So we should be telling them that. We should be telling them that if they have a dream, that you can accomplish your dream, and you don't have to wait until you graduate high school to do it. You can
Right.
start now. And if they're working on that dream, this is what you do. These are the
Mm-hmm.
steps that you take. It doesn't matter if they're in elementary school, middle school, or high school. Let's do it now. If they
Yep.
want to go to college, these are the things, you have to keep your grades up. These are the things that you have to do. We have to expose our children to the right information to make sure that they follow the right process to be able to achieve their dreams.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. So let's talk about one. Thank you so much for sharing that. I hope that the parents that are listening here get to soak up this wisdom, because it is wisdom. I know a lot of times we don't consider ourselves wise because it's like, okay, it's just me. It's just what I'm thinking all the time. But you never know how the thing that you say may be the thing that sparks that fire that thought in that person's mind that sparks them to change their life and to make better decisions and to make, just if not even better, just different decisions in regards to their life. So thank you so much for your willingness to share your experiences. Right now, what are the big projects that you're working on right now? I know you got a lot of things that you're working on, some plans for the future. So what's coming up for Keisha Smith?
Okay, so for Keisha Smith, um, just so many things. So um, before the pandemic hit,
Hmm.
I felt like I knew where I was going. I knew where the Lord was leading me. But since, we've all had this additional time to think, to ponder and to seek God, as it's kind of going in a different direction. So, again, I'm a growth coach. And so I've been put into place to move things from one space to another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, I work with individual clients, I work with corporations, and I work with nonprofit organizations, including, faith-based um, entities. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of just writing business plans and helping them to execute the business plans and to grow. Um, but in this season, I'm kind of helping people to live life, especially business owners and entrepreneurs. Because when we look at what's going on now, we look at the world as being ugly. And we
Mm.
like, we don't know what's going on. If we listen to the press conferences and read the news articles, it's like doom and gloom. So how do we stay sane
Mm.
while trying to either grow, maintain, or build a business? And so I do a series of workshops, Zoom workshops,
Okay.
because one thing I love to do, I love to teach and I love to train, and I always thought that my charge would be just teaching and training, business and in
Mm-hmm.
business. Um, but it takes a different kind of mindset to run a business and to maintain a business in a season.
Mm-hmm.
And so we deal with we're dealing with right now with balance and with being able to command our day and with organization and just structure, those
Mm-hmm.
things that we need as people to maintain our lives. Because
Yeah.
if we can't maintain our lives, there's no way that we can run a business. There's absolutely no way.
Mm.
There's no way.
So if if someone wanted to, sign up for one of your Zoom conferences to find out this information, how can they find that information?
Okay. You can follow me on Facebook at Keisha Smith dash business growth coach or biz growth coach, on Instagram at the biz growth coach. And I'll always have my classes and all my sessions. I'll have those updated daily.
Growth coach. I want to put that in there for you.
Okay.
So you said Instagram was
Instagram is the biz growth coach.
THA
THABIZ
growth
growth
coach.
coach. Hmm.
All right. Cool, cool. So I know that Jordan's also doing something with teaching young people about entrepreneurial skills as well. Is that you want to plug that? You want to speak a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Well, he has a young and bossed up workshop. He was actually having it and hosting down at the Harbor Entrepreneur Center. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of on pause right now until we can all get back together. But he was doing a series of classes for young people. He targeted people from age 16 till about 25.
Mm-hmm.
And they get together in like a um, think tank kind of session
Mm-hmm.
and hash things out. So they've really been good, been changing the lives of the companies of young people.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I love it. I love it so much. Um, Anything that you want to say as we close?
Hmm. Well, I just want to say, as a parent of a young boss, and again, Jordan was 19. He actually signed his lease for the mall 2 weeks after his 19th birthday.
Wow.
So I just want to say that anything is possible. Um, so we as parents should be good examples. With Jordan, even when he signed his lease, I'm like, okay, it's good. We all good, right? But young people don't have any fear.
Mm.
So where I had hesitation, because I'm like, we don't have any money, you don't have any stuff, all that. So I held on to his faith until I was able to build faith of my own. So sometimes we have to do that in certain circumstances, kind of hold on to the faith of our young people because they're fearless. They haven't been through life yet.
Right.
And that's what it takes oftentimes for businesses to be successful and to grow is to have that unlimited faith that young people do have. So I would say listen to your children, trust your children, and support them.
Awesome. That's great words. Listen to your children, trust your children, support them. I love that.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Miss Keisha, for joining me. I really appreciate you joining me tonight. I am an admirer of yours as a parent, of someone who would like to see my children aspire to the heights that Mr. Jackson has. He is definitely a trendsetter, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Let's put it that way.
Oh, thank you. And I have a kid boss workshop actually Thursday of next week.
Okay.
So I'm inviting all kids and parents of kids who have dreams of becoming entrepreneurs.
You said Thursday of
Thursday of
next
next
week?
week at
What
seven
time?
o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I might be tuning into that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me. If you give me
You're welcome.
1 second, I'm going to close and then I'll come
Okay.
right back to you. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this week. Reminder that the show is now split into 2 parts. Wednesdays at 7 p.m., I interview my local celebrities. And on Sundays at 7 p.m. is my normal live show. Next week, I will not be doing a show. I'm actually finishing up a 2-week workshop, which I'm doing with young people, a reproductive health workshop that we're doing online. If that's something you would be interested in getting your children involved in, it is free. All you have to do is follow the link, which you will be able to find on my Real Talk with Rajan page. I'll also put the link in the comments section below. If you are doing something in the community that you would like a light shined on, please reach out to me on my website. That's www.realtalkwithrajan.com so that we can discuss getting you in the show. This and all my shows, in addition to the Car Chronicles series, is now available for your listening pleasure via Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, and any place you can find podcasts. You can also find it on my website, www.realtalkwithrajan.com. If you'd like to be made aware of when I go live, because sometimes it is unscheduled, please be sure to click the follow tab on the page and turn on the notifications so that you will know when something new has been posted to the page. In the meantime, please follow me on social media to stay up to date on what's happening with Real Talk with Rajan. If you go to any social media site and type in Real Talk Rajan, I will pop up. I promise, or I will never, ever be there, so never look for me there. Feel free to leave comments, questions, or whatever else you'd like to say in the comment section or in the message section. I love reading your messages and getting your feedback, even if it's negative. I want you to be honest with me. Why? Because I do not aspire to be told how great I am. I aspire to be as great as I can possibly be. And that only happens with honest feedback. So whether it's positive or negative, let me know. I am also accepting invitations for speaking engagements and event hosting opportunities. If you would like for me to speak at or host your event, you can request me through my website. You guessed it, www.realtalkwithrajan.com. In closing, always remember that God is everything, and without him, we are nothing. So never forget where your help comes from. And if a man doesn't stand for something, he's bound to fall for anything. That's real talk. I will see y'all in 2 weeks. Peace.